This call is now being recorded.
Hello. Junaid?
Hello.
Juno? Hello.
Hello. నేను అడ్మిట్ చేసుకుంటాను కానీ ఐడియా ఇమ్మా చెప్పండి. Right. హలో మహేంద్ర, గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్.
मैम नमस्ते, गुड इवनिंग.
నమస్తే అమ్మా. మోనికా కూడా అటెండ్ అయిందా?
లేదు మేడం, మోనికా బయట ఉంది.
ఓకే
ఆమె
ఓకే
లేదు
అమ్మా,
ఇక్కడ.
ఓకే అమ్మా. Shall we start?
Yes ma'am, we can start it. We can start.
Just
Madam,
20.
yeah.
Just wait for 5 minutes. Just very low attendance is there. 20,
No problem
21.
madam, there is no
Wait
problem.
for 5. Yeah, wait for 5.
No problem. మీరు స్క్రీన్ షేర్ చేస్తున్నారు బహుశా.
Dr. Yoginder Singh is our HOD.
Hello, sir. Namaste.
नमस्कार सर, नमस्कार बोलिए सर। नमस्कार सर।
He is from
Namaste.
Himachal Pradesh.
Oh, nice, sir. My spouse is also from your state, Himachal.
Right, sir, I heard sir from madam. Huh?
Yeah, she's from Nahan. She's from Nahan, Himachal.
So which district is he from, sir?
Sirmoor district, sir. Nahan.
Sirmaur, right, sir.
Yes.
I am from Mandi, sir.
Oh, nice, sir. Nice. Very long from here.
Right, sir.
Yes, sir. This is the second time that I am coming to your college. Last time also I was there, sir.
Right, sir.
We are very glad to have you.
Thank you, ma'am. It is my pleasure always.
He is like elder son.
మేడం
Yeah. Shall we
మేడం
start?
వాయిస్ వస్తుందా మేడం అది
Yeah. It's coming.
बोल गया हाँ अरे भाई बोले क्या हाँ तीन तो फाइन का है
అమ్మాయి ఎవరో వాయిస్ వచ్చేస్తుంది బాగా. 42 వచ్చే స్టార్ట్ చేసేద్దామా?
Ma'am, there is somebody called Ranjit Kumar. I think his mic is on, so it's creating disturbance. Ranjit Kumar? Hello, Ranjit Kumar? Please mute your mic. Hello, Ranjit Kumar? Shall we start, ma'am?
Yeah. Yeah. Hearty welcome, dear participants, and a great evening to one and all. Myself, Dr. R. Uma Devi, Assistant Professor of Commerce and convener of this webinar series. Thank you so much, friends, for being continuously for the last webinar series. Today, we come forward with the most powerful and an alarming issue in order to derive some useful conclusions. The COVID-19 epidemic is the first and foremost human disaster in 2020. The pandemic is a crisis in all industries and sections of the economy. The COVID-19 crisis has exposed key weaknesses in enterprises and supply chains regarding work conditions and emergency readiness. The COVID-19 crisis stimulated the enterprises find new ways to survive and grow. This is particularly apparent in small and medium enterprises that turned out to be susceptible to tremor and founded their survival strategies on entrepreneurship and innovation. Perceiving chaos as an opportunity, businesses employed creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurial spirit to solve problems and grasp opportunities in a changed environment. Innovation can significantly contribute to adaptability. It is a specific entrepreneurial tool, an activity that opens new ways of creating wealth from resources. Today's technological innovation discourses needs to appreciate its importance during the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused rapid growth in the demand for necessary medical equipment, medicines, and high-end IT solutions. The immense importance of Industry 4.0 technology, which helps control and manage the pandemic. Some experts suggest that COVID-19 pandemic could lead to a fifth industrial revolution. The role and impact of Industry 4.0 grow as the world progresses through different stages of the pandemic. Every enterprise is disturbed, which is reflected in the shrinking global economic activity, and shortage of smart production technologies. Significant technological changes were driven by disasters and outbreaks of infectious diseases, hence, the tremendous technological changes today. The COVID 19 pandemic has changed the lives of people and the functioning of businesses worldwide. Many businesses simply cannot operate as they have in the past. What made a company successful historically may no longer be possible during or after the crisis. Customers may struggle to pay. Channels may have radically shifted to accommodate new needs or work around new constraints. A stable regulatory context may have changed, potentially creating opportunities that never existed before. The assumptions that supported years of stable, predictable growth may no longer be valid. On this backdrop, we, the Department of Commerce, in association with IQAC, is organizing this webinar on impact of COVID-19 on innovation and business. This webinar will provide valuable information on the impact of COVID on technological and its significance in business, and insights about how to revive the business from recession by adopting few measures both by the common man and the government. This is an interactive session. You can clarify your doubts with the resource person at the end of his session. So first 40 minutes um, he addresses the gathering. Later you can interact with the resource person. Hope this session will be quite useful and informative to all of you. Now I request Dr. Yoginder Singh to deliver inaugural HOD of Commerce to deliver inaugural address. Sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good evening, one and all. On the behalf of Dr. SRK Government Arts College, Yanam, dear colleagues, respected participants, and students, I, Dr. Yoginder Singh, feel honored to welcome you all in this program of National Webinar Series 2. So it's our pleasure to invite today's resource person, Dr. Mahendra Babu Purva, Faculty Business Management, MP Nandan Bahuguna University, Garhwal, a Central University of Uttarakhand. So we are grateful you for your very valuable time that we get to share with you, sir. So the today topic for the National Webinar Series 2 is impact of COVID-19 on business innovations, and this will certainly help you to understand the changing scenario of business and innovations and its impact on individual as well as society at national level and international level or at a globally. So now I would like to call Mrs. Sheikh Fazavi, Assistant Professor of Commerce and one of the coordinator of this program. So please take over the session to introduce today's resource person.
Good evening, all of you. Good evening, all of you. This is Sheikh Fazavi, Assistant Professor of Commerce and one of the coordinator of this webinar series. It's my privilege and honor to welcome today's resource person, Dr. Mahendra Babu Karwa. Let me introduce in a brief. Presently, he is working as an assistant professor of business management at HNG Garhwal Central University, Uttarakhand. And he pursued PhD and MBA from Pondicherry Central University, Pondicherry. His areas of interest include international finance, open economy, macroeconomics, international business, and economics of globalization. Holding the administrative responsibilities as Assistant Director, IQAC, Assistant Dean, Student Welfare of HNB Garhwal University. He had the membership in various professional bodies as Director, Administrative Committee, All Indian Research Association, Mysore, Karnataka, and Life Member, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand Economic Association. And books published by him India's Economic Reforms after 1991, said publications on 15th August 2018, co-authored with Dr. Maunika Kashyap. In policy making, he played the key role in presentation of Economic Survey Volume 2 for the year 2018 and 19 and 2019 and 20 of the Government of Uttarakhand by contributing chapters. He had published research articles in national and international journals like Asia.
మేడం మీ వాయిస్ ఆగిపోయింది మేడం సార్ చెక్ చేసుకోండి
Hello? Am I
ఇప్పుడు ఓకే
audible?
మేడం
Hello?
ఇప్పుడు ఓకే మేడం
Yeah. In addition to this economic research, Dr. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. Cousin.
Okay, ma'am.
Carry on.
Okay. In addition to this academic research, Dr. Mahendra Babu has also contributed columns on contemporary national and international issues to the editorial pages of Inadu, one of the largest circulated dailies of India. He also wrote columns on political and economic issues in reputed national Hindi news dailies like Amar Ujala and Hindustan that widely circulated in North Indian states. He has also been resource person to many academic institutions and also the government organizations to deliver lectures on issues of contemporary relevance. He had the privilege of being invited delegate to Delhi Economic Conclave by Ministry of Finance, Government of India in 2012 as well as in 2013 too. And Dr. Mahendra Babu also had the privilege to be the chairperson of technical sessions in Roadmap for Inclusive Sustainable Economy RISE, a national conference conducted by the National Institute of Technology NIT, Hamirpur, Himachal Pradesh. He has co-convened for the 3 events of Industry Academia interface held at HNV Garhwal University. Hope this vast experience and analysis of current issues will provide the valuable insight to revive today's our topic, impact of COVID-19 on innovations and business. Let us welcome Dr. Mahendra Babu with great honor. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much, Kwajabi ma'am, for the very generous introduction about me. Thanks a lot. Respected head of the department of Dr. SRK Government College, Yanam, Dr. Yoginder Singh Saab, convener Umadevi madam, co-convener Kwajabi ma'am, Sridevi ma'am, faculty members and student friends, very good evening to one and all. It is a pleasure to meet all of you once again. I think it's the second time that I had the privilege of being a resource person in your reputed organization. Today, I will be deliberating upon the topic called like impact of COVID-19 on innovation and business. It would be like this. Let us have a discussion, and I will be speaking for first initial 35 to 40 minutes, and then the forum will be open for discussion. And I would be more than happy if there are more questions so that if you could put me in trouble and I could try to answer them. So I look forward for more questions from your side after the talk. So my plan of the talk is simple. In the initial few minutes, I will try to bring the nuances of globalization, because we have been a globalized world since ages, and COVID-19 has disrupted everything. So we'll try to understand it from the beginning, how business was there and how the evolution of global business happened in the initial stages. Then how the COVID-19 became a great disruptor and how it led to innovations, and how the world is going to cope up by innovating itself, particularly from the perspective of business. So this is the simple plan for today's talk of mine. So let me start. I'll be sharing the screen. 1 second. think the screen is visible to all of you, I guess. Ma'am, whether screen is visible to everybody? Hello?
Yeah, Mahendra, it's visible. It's
Yeah.
visible. Yeah.
Fine, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Okay. So let me bring in front of you the rise of globalization. After the Second World War, that is from which lasted from 1939 to 45, a new global economic order has emerged, and that gave a very big push to international commerce and trade, because the Bretton Woods arrangement was decided, where dollar became the global currency. There was a stability to the global economy, and globalization flourished because of stable exchange rates and a stable political environment across the globe, by and large. As a result of that, globalization has also took a major step forward with the progress of international commerce and trade. And until the decade of 90s, it was a particular phase. And 90s decade could be called as a decade of hyper globalization, because it was the period which saw the advent of and wider usage of internet revolution, where the communication costs reduced. And earlier the workers used to travel from one country to other country, then the work started going from one country to other country, with the workers remaining in the same places. So that was a very major development that happened in the decade of 90s, which we could call it as a hyper globalization. In the same decade of 90s, China also joined in the World Trade Organization and tried to dominate the world trade. As a result of China's entry into the World Trade Organization and its entrenching roots in the global business, there was a flood of cheap labor all over the world. And thanks to the favorable exchange rates and the policy support for business from the successive Chinese governments from time to time. And from 1990 to 2008, you could see that the total trade in goods and services increases from 39% to 61% of the world trade. And as a result of all these developments, millions and millions of people have been lifted out of poverty due to this, thanks to the process of globalization, because that promoted business, that promoted economic growth, that created more employment opportunities, and eventually it was the poor people that were lifted out of poverty. I did not say that it did not have side effects, but that could be stored for the discussion segment of our lecture. Then came the globalization. We have heard of globalization. Then what is globalization? You see, the slowdown of globalization we call as globalization. Right? It is not deglobalization, it was globalization. So the globalization that was happening at a particular speed had slowed down, and the major reason and the major villain was the 2008 financial crisis in 2008, and later the US-China trade war, which propped up recently into the global media, which caught the attention of global media recently also. So because of these developments, there has been a severe understanding in the Western democracies, both in America and European nations, and that gave rise to economic nationalism, where leaders started thumping that the domestic jobs are for people of the same country, like American jobs are from Americans, or a country is claiming that we should be more protectionist, that we don't want to give employment opportunities to other parts of the world. So as a result of all these developments, as a result of globalization, free trade was replaced by populism, and that was welcomed by voting to the power. The leaders like Donald Trump came to power, and that was the best example. Even in European nations also, several populist leaders, including like in Britain, Boris Johnson also came to power, who was right-wing party, and that shows the discontent of public with the globalization, and as a result, these are the results of globalization. Finally, the so-called political rhetoric turned into actual policies, and nobody could stop them. And this was the time when slowly, gradually, the global business was also shrinking. Because of these policies, protectionist policies, business across the world started shrinking, and there were concerns by the economists all over the world that we should do something about this challenge, otherwise which could turn serious. And at that particular point of time, when the world was witnessing globalization and business was receding to the lower levels, the world was stricken by the COVID-19 pandemic, which came as the great disruptor. So, COVID-19 has had a very severe impact on the lives and livelihoods of the people across the world. It not only disrupted the normal living of an individual, not only confined them to their homes for a very long time, it has done more. Apart from claiming millions and millions of lives across the world, COVID 19 has also done enormous damage to the business world, which even now could not recover, even after 1.5 long year. And because there are reasons. See, it is a pandemic, one like of a nature of once in a century kind of pandemic, and never we had such a scale of deaths across the world, at least in the last 100 years. And because of this, the very nature of the virus is such that it disrupted the very long and complex supply chain system on which globalization is very largely dependent. See, the success of business today across the world is driven by globalization. And that particular aspect got affected. The globalization aspect got seriously affected by COVID-19 because that was relied on supply chain system and that got disrupted by this particular virus, this particular pandemic. So countries that once thrived on global networks and global supply chains suffered. The best example is Bangladesh. Because Bangladesh is known for its export to competitiveness, particularly in the segment of textiles and even small scale industrial products because of the cheap labor available over there. And in fact, they were successful and they were able to build a very strong global network and they could become a very important segment of lengthy global supply chains. They became a key, like what China was before 2008 crisis. Bangladesh tried to become the same because of its economic policies pursued by the respective governments over there. But countries, small countries, poor countries, emerging countries of this sort had to rethink about their businesses, or they had to renegotiate their contracts, had to settle down for lesser than what they used to earn earlier because of COVID-19 pandemic as businesses got affected. And most worst affected are the segments like trade, tourism, aviation, hospitality industry, which once used to drive the globalization. Now with the restricted travel, more travel restrictions, quarantine regulations, all these segments which were the engines of globalization and who which acted as a accelerator for global business came to a grinding halt all at once. So that is why I called COVID-19 as the disruptor in the business. Then here, what innovation and business has to do with it? In the last 10 to 12 minutes, I think I try to give you a bird's eye view of the rise and slowdown of globalization in the last few decades, and how it had slowed down and how COVID-19 had impacted the process of globalization and business. It has been put in front of you. Now the bigger question is, the important and pertinent question is, what innovation and business has to do with all these developments? Definitely, there is a relation because everything in this world is related to everything else. It is not my theory; it is a theory called chaos theory. I will tell in the last slide of my presentation. I'll make a mention about that. Let us come back here. There is a relation between innovation, between business, and between globalization and COVID-19 because globalization is a phenomena that pulls up the business growth. On the other hand, businesses use innovations as a tool to push forward further progress, to push towards further progress. It pushes businesses uses innovation and they flourish, right? And businesses survived and in fact thrived during the time of crisis through innovation. It is a very surprising fact that we need to know that despite globalization, despite challenges earlier also during the World War I and World War II, we have seen similar kind of situations where the business shrank and there were restrictions over the trade across borders. And every time when such a situation happened, when such situation occurred, businesses reinvented itself through innovations. And in fact, many innovations came up, new things came up, innovative ideas and technologies came up only during the time of crisis. For example, like uh, there are nuclear weapons and new items of warfare, which found its place after the World War II itself, during the World War II itself, because that was a crisis situation. So innovations came handy in the past and are coming at present and will continue to come in the future also for businesses to grow even in the crisis. So here we need to look at these ideas, like new ideas emerge in crisis and boost innovation. It is a fact that, as I discussed, like digital computers, jet engines, nuclear weapons, they're all the innovations emerged from the crisis during the World War II, as I was telling earlier. And whenever there is a crisis, there are few possibilities. Whenever any kind of crisis like COVID-19 or a war or an emergency or any other severe crisis, there are few possibilities that could happen in any segment. The first possibility is new technology could come up to deal the existing problem, to cope up with the existing problem. New technologies will come up because necessity is the mother of invention, and humans are very good at inventing things right from the stages uh, when we were living in the caves. So when there is a crisis, first possibility is that new technologies could come up. And other possibility, in case if no new technology comes up, there is a possibility that old technologies are used effectively. And third one is adoption to the change will accelerate. Like already there was a technology and people were not so easy to adopt to it. They were reluctant to use it to that particular technology or to that particular idea. But when there is a crisis, it will actually act as a catalyst to boost the adoption process. So we could see an opportunity even in the crisis also when we see from the perspective of innovations and business. So again, I would like to repeat like three possibilities are there whenever there is a crisis of this sort. First possibility is there is a possibility of new technologies coming up. There is a possibility of old technologies being used effectively. And third possibility that could happen in a society or in an economy is that it could help the society to adopt to the change and it will accelerate the process of adoption. Let us see how. Like for example, there is a situation where you have to innovate or perish, or you have to adopt or perish. Because, for instance, during the global financial crisis, one of the disruptors of globalization, the business adopted cloud computing technology. All that was there from early 2000. You might have heard about the technology of cloud computing. It was there from the early 2000 itself. But very few people were adopting to this technology because they did not find any need. But because of the global financial crisis and the uncertainty it created and the need it created to be more innovative and more adaptive, it led to the change where the companies started using this cloud computing technology for their improving their efficiency and effectiveness. So that is how I was talking about the third possibility. Like it could the crisis
Sir,
could sometimes yes,
sir, sir, sorry for disturbance, sir.
yeah.
Slide is not moving, sir. We are unable to see the slide.
Oh, but sir,
Well, only first page is there. Only first slide is there.
sir, I'm changing the slides, but I don't know if there may be a problem, sir. Ma'am, I think one second. Ma'am, Uma ma'am,
Yeah. He from here
could you
we can.
please share my PPT which is with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll stop presenting.
Okay, Mahendra.
Yeah,
We are
please.
sharing. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. There is a problem, I think.
Mahendra, you please continue. We will share in meanwhile. Just a minute.
Okay. Sir, I'm changing the slides. Are you able to see the change in the slides? Hello,
Yeah, Mahendra, it was changed. Yeah,
ma'am.
innovating R. Perish.
Now,
With
okay,
R.
ma'am. Now, I think 1 second, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
The slides here are not changing. 1 second. మ్యామ్ మీ దగ్గర పీపీటీ ఉంది కదా నాది అది షేర్ చేయగలుగుతారా ఇక్కడ ప్రాబ్లం వస్తుంది షేర్ చేస్తుంటే
Yeah, yeah,
స్లైడ్
yeah,
చేంజ్
yeah.
కావట్లేదు
Yeah, yeah.
మీరు చేయండి మేడం మీరు షేర్ చేయండి నేను ఐ విల్ స్టాప్ షేరింగ్
Okay, okay.
మేడం ఇప్పుడు స్లైడ్స్ చేంజ్ అవుతున్నాయా హలో
Yeah,
సార్
Mahendra.
స్లైడ్స్ ఇప్పుడు
Yeah, changing, Mahendra. Slides are changing. You
ఓకే నౌ
can
ఐఎమ్
make.
ఓకే
Yeah.
ఇన్నోవేట్ అండ్ పెరిష్ స్లైడ్ కనిపిస్తుంది నెక్స్ట్ ఇప్పుడు 3 బిగ్ ఇన్నోవేషన్స్ వస్తుందా కనిపిస్తుందా
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
ఫైన్
Yeah,
ఫైన్
3 big innovations.
Yeah, fine, ma'am. So I was in this particular slide where during the global, sorry for the disturbance, everybody. There was some technical glitch. Sorry for that. So during the global financial crisis, it was a time where people started adopting, companies started adopting cloud computing. So that was the third possibility I was talking about, where crisis sometimes fosters and makes the adoption process more faster. It fosters the adoption process basically. It acts as a catalyst here. It improves the adoption process. This is the best example. And even COVID-19 pandemic also forced the companies to adapt to new ways of doing things in order to survive. Because there is a situation where we are in a situation where we have to either innovate or will perish, because it is today we are in a market economy where the market forces of supply and demand and the invisible hand of Adam Smith, that is competition, will determine whether one will stay or one will perish out of the market. So, for example, Q3 of 2020 year witnessed the biggest number of mergers and acquisitions in the last 3 decades. So, when you see the data of last 30 years, the only Q3 of 2020 witnessed the biggest number of mergers and acquisitions. That shows the disappearance of many companies, or amalgamation of different companies, or merger of different companies, or takeover of different companies by some other firms. So this is the best example which we could see, where companies or businesses who failed to innovate or who failed to adapt to the change that has happened in the last 1.5 years have simply perished out of the scene. So this is the situation. So as a result of all these developments, 3 big innovations happened in the last 1.5 years. From the perspective of business, the 3 big innovations are work from home, home deliveries, and e-learning. As the pandemic forced the people to stay at home and social distancing has become the norm of the day, companies also adopted to the changed environment, the changed circumstances, and asked their employees to work from home. It also reduced the burden on the companies in terms of operations, and it also gave more flexibility for the employees to work, and there was a win-win situation. It do had its side effects, but there was no other option at a point of time where getting out of home was more than risking one's life. At the same time, one need to work to run their family, and companies also have to survive and thrive. So it was a situation. It was an innovation where both the employees as well as employers could come to a agreement or come to terms where they could have a win-win situation. So work from home was the biggest innovation in the last 1.5 years due to COVID-19 from the perspective of business. And the second innovation, what we have seen, is home deliveries. Home deliveries were there. There were online trading platforms, but the magnitude of online transactions have multiplied exponentially due to the situations created by the COVID-19 pandemic. And because at the initial stages of the pandemic, there were restrictions on the movement of public, and in fact, there were literal lockdowns where everybody was confined to homes. So even essentials were delivered at home by the consent shops and online platforms. So we are also working on a paper like impact of COVID-19 and e-commerce that is in the process of publication, where we attempted to study how e-commerce was impacted uh, during the period of COVID-19, before lockdown, after lockdown, and during lockdown. We tried to attempt it, and there were some interesting results which we could get at that particular point of time. And the third innovation is e-learning, which changed the way we study, which changed the way we teach, we interact. So e-learning is another big innovation, and it has become a very huge market with potential for very huge investments even in the future. There is a digital divide in a country like India. There are issues with technology. There are issues with the networks in rural areas, but still, it remained the one and only option during the time of pandemic that helped millions of students to continue their learning process through online mode. So these are the three big innovations from the perspective of business. And at a time when the globe got globalized, globalization process took a setback, businesses were on the verge of shutdown. These three things I find are the biggest innovations that help the businesses to thrive and the economies to keep running even at a slower pace. As the social distancing is the norm of the day, globalization has obviously taken a backseat because people traveled lesser and they preferred staying at home. And still, despite all these restrictions and challenges, businesses still made innovations and stayed connected to the people. Thanks to techzeleration. What is this techzeleration? It is a rapid adoption of societies to the emerging technologies. Whatever technology comes up, people started adopting it very rapidly. Whether it be using of UPI platforms, whether it be or online teaching, be it like working from home, be it the platforms which we are using right now, Google Meet and Zoom for our interactions and meetings. We were reluctant, we were hesitant to be very frank at a particular point of time, because all these applications have been there for so many years, but we never cared to use them because there was no crisis. But it is the crisis what we are undergoing now that had forced us to do so. So thanks to their techzeleration, that is the process of rapid adoption to the emerging technologies. So as a result, what happened? It has pushed this particular aspect of techzeleration has pushed the companies faster into the future. We went at a higher speed into the future, and the change that could have happened in a matter of 10 years, it happened in just 1 year. That is a fact. It is not my statement, it is a statement from the reputed weekly The Economist. So it is a fact that the crisis due to COVID-19 had pushed no doubt it pushed the business towards the limit, but it is the fact that only the fittest survives, and fittest is the one who either adopts or who either innovates. So I'll give some examples uh, of some innovations in business. For example, Zipline, you might have heard, it is a drone manufacturing company, and that was used in defense related activities. However, Zipline surprisingly joined with Walmart and started delivering consumables to the people. And in fact, they also deliver now the drugs and vaccines also. See, the drones that used to deliver defense related equipments and that were put to use for defense purposes started delivering consumables which no one would have ever imagined in their wildest dreams. And even they could become lifesavers by delivering drugs and vaccines in the remote areas where common people takes time to reach. And another concept, there is another innovation, business innovation called the concept of ghost kitchens, And now, basically, it is largely seen, this particular practice of ghost kitchens are largely seen in European nations. Now it is slowly gaining popularity, and it is spreading to the rest of the world. So the ghost kitchens are places where many people come together and cook, and online delivery food platforms will buy food from these ghost kitchens, and there is no brand, no company. Several companies together, several individuals together walk over there, and they supply food to the food delivery apps, and nobody knows which company they are. That's why they are called ghost kitchens. They operate in shadows. It is actually a cost cutting measure, basically. Many people coming together like a community cooking. They come together and cook the food, and they sell it to the different platforms to different people. This is a concept called ghost kitchens. And meal delivery market is said to generate a revenue worth $182 billion across the world by 2024. And in fact, it is one third higher than the projections made in 2020, because circumstances were different into earlier. Now the circumstances are completely different. Even the Zoom app, which we use very largely, it was like in January 2020, only 10 million people were using the Zoom app. Now, by April 2020, in a matter of just 4 months, the number of users touched 300 million. By now, it would have been even far higher. Even like e-learning also, between the period from 2019 to 2026, e-learning market, is expected to quadruple its growth. This is all because we are in a situation where we have no other choice but to use these technologies, adapt to these technologies to make our life easier and better than earlier. That is the only reason. And these are the innovations that are making our life easier. I'm sitting in Uttarakhand and talking to people in Yanam, and many people from other parts of the country have also joined here through these platforms, which would have been very difficult in these tough times of pandemic. It would have been impossible for all of us to meet physically. So this is the platforms that are being used thanks to the innovations happened in the last few years. And what is the way ahead? The way ahead is so simple, but simplicity, the most complex thing is simple things, because that needs to make these simple things happen. It needs a lot of policy choices and political will by the leaders at the top, because innovations flourished during the crisis and they will continue to do so in the future also. And what is needed for the business is to create the right opportunities and to create the right circumstances. These are the two things that are needed for business from the policymaker side. So what they can do? What are the right opportunities? And what are right circumstances? Right opportunities and right circumstances. When you talk about right circumstances, today we are in a situation where our economies are shrinking, economic growth is lesser, employment rate is low, and people are worried. Now the biggest challenge before here to create the right circumstances is to revive the demand for the goods and services, to revive the economy, to put it very simply. So in order to revive the economy and create right circumstances, what could be done? To revive the economy, there is a need to address the fundamental problem. So the fundamental problem today is the lack of demand for goods and services in the market. Because due to pandemic, people lost their jobs, lost their incomes, and they are not spending money. As a result of this phenomena, the people demand reduced for goods and services. When demand falls for goods and services, what happens is, in that particular segment, output will be reduced. So production will come down. That will result in unemployment in that particular sector. So it is a cycle basically. So unemployment in one sector creates unemployment in other sector via fall in demand. It is very simple concept. So the basic thing that the policymakers need to do to create the right circumstances is to revive the aggregate demand. And how to do that? Two ways. One way is to pursue a loose monetary policy, reduce the interest rate, increase the money supply, make the money available easily to businessmen and public so that they will borrow more, invest more, consume more. As a result, when they consume more, that will create demand for goods, and that will create more employment opportunities as production will increase, and that will create more incomes to the people, they will get income, they go out and spend money, and that creates demand in some other sector. That is how economy revives sector by sector, and in the medium term, it will be all fine. This is a monetary policy. Yeah. Other aspect to create the right circumstances to have a accommodative fiscal policy where there are lesser taxes, where there are tax concessions for businesses, and subsidies on innovations or tools related to innovative technologies that could help the businesses, that gives incentive to the businesses to innovate more. And to create the right opportunities, it is the prerogative of the policymakers and the government to give incentives to the businesses to innovate, to invest in R&D, like giving by providing special schemes to them and special concessions to these segments who invest a particular amount of money from their profits or a particular amount of money from their uh, from their investments through R&D only, like waiving of taxes or giving concessions on electricity. Very small things, but that could lead to very big results in the long term. So that is what is expected from the technologists and policymakers. When we combine these policies, like policy on technology, policy on economy, fiscal policy, monetary policy, it should all come together. Only then we could revive the economy. We will promote innovations, and will help the business to grow. And as a result, will help the globalization to go to another level from where we are. Otherwise, it is going to be very tough time for all of us in case if these policies are not pursued. Like recovery may take very long time, and that would be more painful. What matters is that should be less painful. And for that to happen, these are the policies which I could put forward basically. As I told you earlier, like the flippings of the wings of a butterfly influences weather thousands of miles away in future. It was a theory called chaos theory by Edward Lorenz, because everything is related to everything else in this world. Everyone is related to everyone else in this world. And the choices which we make and the choices which we don't make both affect not only individuals but also the rest of the society in their own way, whose result will be seen at a future time. So this is the time we need to take policies that will address this crisis which we are going through, and I hope that our policymakers will follow such policies, and I just have a positive hope that we will be soon see the light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you very much, and it's the time. The platform is open, and it's time for discussion. You could add, you could differ with me. You could ask any questions if any. Thank you.
Dear participants, you can interact with the resource person by unmuting yourself. Please.
Yes, ma'am. Selvaraj Punita. Please. You raised your hand, ma'am. Selvaraj Punita. Any questions? Hello.
Hello, participants.
No questions or nothing to ask or add? Students of SRK College, faculty members. Okay, ma'am. I think
Hope your wonderful talk has enriched them and enlightened their knowledge. No doubts
thank
at
you.
all, I think, Mahendra.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Sir, any doubts, dear participants? Okay, now I request B. Veerabhadra Rao, Assistant Professor of Commerce, to propose vote of thanks on behalf of our Department of Commerce.
Thank
Over
you,
to
madam.
you.
Thank you, Umadev, madam. Respected dignitaries and dear students, good evening to one and all. This is Mr. B. Veerbhadra Rao, Assistant Professor of Commerce. It is my immense pleasure to propose vote of thanks on the successful completion of the webinar. I, on behalf of Department of Commerce, Dr. SRK Government Arts College, and my own behalf of extend a very hearty and sincere vote of thanks to all the participants. Thank you so much for being with us. At the outset, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to the eminent speaker and our resource person, Dr. Mahendra Babu Kuruva, for delivering wonderful and insightful address. Sir, your eminent presence has indeed made this event a memorable one, and we unitedly thank you for your valuable and thoughtful words. Your words provided valuable information in reviving the Indian economy. Thank you, sir. I extended special thanks to Dr. Yogendra Singh, HOD of Commerce, for his support and encouragement in organizing the webinar series. Sir, thank you so much for the kind acceptance to deliver the inaugural address. I extended my sincere thanks to the organizing committee members and IQSC coordinator for their contribution towards the grand success of this program. I would like to thank the coordinators of this webinar series, Mrs. Sridevi and Mrs. Sheikh Wajabi, for the contribution support for the success of the webinar. I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to the convener of the webinar series, Dr. R. Umadevi, for her initiation and continuous support and efforts. Last but not the least, our sincere thanks to Mr. Manikasu, first MCOM, for the technical support in the success of this webinar. Stay connected for the upcoming webinars. Once again, thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, ma'am. I will take leave with your permission.
Thank you, Mahendra.
Okay, ma'am. Bye, ma'am. Namaste.
Thank you, participants, for your gracious and presence and cooperation. Please stay connected for the upcoming webinars also. Thank you.
Madam, Manchester. Hello?
Yeah, Kazu. Okay. You can. Yeah. మేము కొంచెం ఒక 5-10 minutes ఉంచుతాము పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ ఇంకా ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ ఫామ్ ఫిల్ చేస్తారు యూ కెన్ గో నౌ థ్యాంక్ యూ కాజు Thank you, Veerbhadrav.
Thank you,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.